So if we're missing Deke. Deke had to go. Deke had to go. Can't remember where. Where was he going? He was going to D.C.?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, this was meant to be a day about what we call delivery skills, and we were not trying to dissect the logic of your talks. I had the first job that I ever got when I came to New York was the job of a slush pile man. Do you know what a slush pile man does? What does he do?
You read unsolicited manuscripts that are sent to publishers.
Exactly right. And unsolicited manuscripts are manuscripts that are not represented by a literary agency. I had a windowless office. I had manuscript boxes stacked up against the walls, and it was my job every day to open those boxes, read the cover letter from the author, and then dive into the book trying to find something that was worthy of publication. However, if I detected some bad grammar in the cover letter, if the first paragraph of the book was not particularly intriguing, or if I caught a whiff of, I don't know, cornball romance in the dialogue, I would literally slap a lid on the box, put a rubber band around the box, put the rejection letter, the form rejection letter, underneath the rubber band, sign my name to the bottom of the letter, and send the manuscript back to where it came from. There were just too many novels in the room, and I had to trust my response to the signals that I was getting from the writing that was in the letter that the author sent, and also from what I picked up from the book. Now, you are not novels on a slush pile, but the signals that you send when you're speaking could be undermining your chances of success in getting funded. And there is evidence to suggest that this is true. In 2010, a woman named Amy Cuddy, a Harvard professor, cited a study of 185 venture capital pitches. And she found that the greatest predictors of success were variables such as eye contact, calmness, passion, and lack of awkwardness. In fact, she even said that when you get money from venture capitalists, it has nothing to do with content. It has something to do with how you are coming across as a speaker. And I suspect it has, what they're looking for is some kind of person who I would call a showrunner, somebody who has authority, who has maturity, who has a great deal of confidence, passion, and belief in what they are selling. So those little signals that we send when we are uncertain can be dangerous to us. So I thought it might be interesting to talk about some of these signals that we send when we are not functioning as fully as we could, right, under the pressure of being in a VC environment. Do you have any experiences? Let me ask you right off, what are the sort of the signals that you think detract from your own delivery or from your own success when you're up here?
Sometimes people shift from foot to foot.
Yeah,
They're in front of you.
absolutely. I think that's true. I think if it's...
Can you repeat the comment if it's offline?
Okay. Yes, so what is your name? Margaret?
Margaret.
Margaret, yeah. So Margaret said that it is some people shift feet to foot to foot. In fact, they can actually look like sailors on a ship, sort of doing this kind of thing. Yeah, again, we look on stage. We look better if we stand still. If we be the tree, I think we project more authority, more credibility when we're capable of doing that. It is hard to do. But it's helps us look good, and therefore we get interpreted in a different way, a good way, right? It's not to say,
It also looks better on video.
yeah, good. And, and it's okay to walk, with intention on the stage, and then, but then you need to plant yourself down here again and speak from this position. And then a few moments later, if you want, it's okay to go over here and then plant yourself again. But extraneous movement that doesn't have anything to do with the content is destructive to your credibility. Good. Yeah, what?
I think sometimes we use abbreviations that we know, but the audience might not necessarily know too much.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Especially in the military, I think there's so many militaries, an alphabet jungle of terms in the military, and Ian was talking about that too. He had to learn how to speak basically a different language coming out of the military. So yes, that's true for all of us. I think every industry has different terms, and in order to be an expert in that particular industry, you really do have to know that lingo, right? And very often, maybe the venture capitalists aren't that familiar with it because they're generalists, they're not specialists. Yeah, that's good. What else? Any other ideas? You have.
And it makes me swallow really hard for a long time, but that sounds weird. But when I feel like,
Yeah, so you feel your tension manifesting in your throat and your.
and it makes me start to swallow over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Yeah. Have
Like
you
a
ever?
crazy person.
What do you do to get rid of it?
What do I do? Tell me. I don't know. I don't have anything yet.
I don't know myself. I mean, yes.
Oh, you do?
There is a tea called throat tea, and what it does is it opens up your throat. And I know a lot of people who speak a lot, they use it. Some people put like a mint or something in it, sugarless mint, like a Halls. And if you drink that, it will just open your throat up so you won't have that problem. It's called throat tea, and you can get it from GNC. GNC, yeah, that's the name of the
Thank
store.
you.
Good.
No throat.
So let me give you some, just a very high level things, I think the most important things to do. The first thing to do is to rehearse under performance-like pressure, which is what you did and you did and some of us here, right? Walter, you did it, and Patricia too, right? Patricia, is that your name? Yeah. So rehearsing under performance-like pressure creates a lot of benefits for you. What does it do for you? Well, you get acclimated to being in the gaze of others, right? And that can take time if you're not familiar with public speaking, right? It helps you learn your lines and know what you're going to say. It helps you, therefore, relax and be more secure up here and project greater confidence and also come across with more, more force and more naturalness. Rehearsal enables spontaneity. There are people who say, "Oh, I don't need to rehearse. I want to keep it spontaneous." That's a bunch of bull. Almost every speaker works their butt off to learn what they want to say and say it well and succinctly so that the audience will listen to them. So that's number one. I think rehearsal under performance-like pressure has got to be number one. Play equal status. If you're talking to somebody like a VC, I would say don't demean yourself and act like you're small and needy, and don't ever try to strut your stuff and say that you better sign up with me or you're gonna miss out on a big opportunity. You want to talk to them as an equal, so that they are not offended. Right? You can make yourself look weak, or you can make yourself look arrogant, or you can make yourself an equal. And that's a good thing to stick to. Humor. Have you ever heard any humor humor is inherently persuasive. Have you ever had a joke told in a VC pitch? I'm sure there's been one. I remember Robert, when Robert Reich was the Secretary of Labor. Do you remember Robert Reich? Do you know how small he was? He was very small, a very small man. And I saw him get up on a stage in the biggest ballroom in America, and he came trotting out onto the stage and disappeared behind the lectern. You could not see anything except a little tuft of hair sticking out above the top of his head. And there were video magnification screens all over this ballroom, about 16 of them all the way around. And there was a long silence behind the lectern, and then he said, though this voice came from behind the lectern and said, "When I began to worry about the political economy of the United States, I was 6'5". It wore me down. And then he came out to the front of the stage with literally 1,500 people in the audience and talked for 45 minutes on the nature of the global economy, something like that. But anyway, you have the audience eating out of the palm of your hand if you can do something like that, especially if it's self-effacing humor. One of my favorite poets, I hope you remember him, know him, William Butler Yeats, a great Irishman, who said, "Nobody ever convinces us by force of reasoning, but rather because he is visibly enjoying the beliefs that he wants us to accept." So are you visibly enjoying the beliefs that you want your audience to accept? I think that is one of the keys. That's an auditory cue, that's a visual cue, that's an emotional cue that you need to be listened to. Simple exercise here. It's much better to speak with open palms rather than speaking like this. You're not polishing the apple from this side, right? Keep your open palms, open body. You notice, I'm sorry, that Donald Trump, politics aside, you will never see him, his hands touching together. In other words, he's always like this or something like this, right? He's not going to be holding his own hand. I'm nervous. Mommy's not here, so I have to hold my own hand. While I'm up here. And Hillary does it too. She always expands herself. She opens her body as much as she can so that she looks more confident and bigger. What else? And eye contact. We've talked about eye contact. Everybody probably knows about eye contact. But there are three kinds of eye contact in this world: passive, assertive, and aggressive. Which kind do you think you need to have when you're up here in the audience? I mean, up here on stage. Assertive. Thank you. Yeah. Tentative. Passive is not good. Aggressive is not good. Again, it's coming in as, I believe in myself. I believe in my ideas. I want to watch your face to see whether or not you're listening to me and what you think of what I'm saying. And when good eye contact works because it becomes a dialogue. I say something, you might nod, which you did, and then I feel, okay, good, I can keep on going, right? So it's a kind of it's no longer a monologue, it's a dialogue if you're making good eye contact. Yeah.
I'm just wondering what your feedback is on dress code. Is it becoming less formal, more relaxed, instead of formal business suit? What's your...
Well, I was always told to dress just slightly above the audience. In other words, today I don't usually wear blue jeans to work, but because I was in this cool, hip, environment here, I wore blue jeans. But then I wore sort of formal cufflinks on my shirt, just to sort of signal that I know how to dress, perhaps. I think it's gone. Come on, we see people all the time without ties, and that's very, informal. And then you can see lots of people in certain industries, advertising, wearing blue jeans all the time. Walking in and high-tech firms, they're always wearing blue jeans. So I think it's It's gone way informal.
The other thing that I do is actually will bring something else. Like I actually have a pair of heels in my bag. So depending on the audience and the mood of the event, I also have another sweater that I could tie over or a shawl if it's a little bit colder. I don't know if, of course, men can't be as flexible, but you can always carry something that maybe will change it based on the atmosphere in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. So what were you saying?
I was just saying, men can a little bit. A sport coat is a good thing that you can always take off and lean on the back of your shirt.
Yeah.
If you realize that it's too formal, and pocket square, you can like pull out, or you can push back down again. So there's little things
cool.
men can do as well.
Yeah. So yeah, there are some things men can do. Well, let's see. Do you all familiar with Guy Kawasaki? Right. You know his 10-20-30 rule. You do? Yes. Everybody? No. Okay.
No.
Well, do you know, Walter? It's 10-20-30 rule. Yes. Do you,
I think it's 10 slides, 20 points, 30-point type.
yeah, it's 10 slides, 20 minutes, no font smaller than 30 points.
Right.
Right. So he's a VC in California, and I don't know if he makes everyone adhere to that algorithm, but it's I think it's a good idea. The spirit of it is correct, right? He says you don't know your business or you don't know what you're trying to do if you can't do it in 10 slides, 20 minutes, and in font no smaller than 30 points. No bigger than 30. No, smaller than 30 points. Which I think is a good kind of way to think about it. Is there anything else? Any other ideas, things that get in the way? Yes?
I used to be in Toastmasters, and when you give your 2 to 5 minute speech, they have counters. So they'll say, "That was lovely, Margaret. You said 87,000 times." and that kind of exercise in front of other people really does get you to speak without them, I believe.
Do you remember when Carolyn Kennedy tried to be senator from New York? And she lost that job because she said she had 16 ums every minute, 25 ums. She was horrible speaker. I think we elect our candidates based on how they talk.
True.
For the most part, how good they are at selling themselves and their ideas through how they talk. So it's important. It's an important skill. Shall we close her down?
Yeah. Anybody else has questions? No? Well, I guess, are you complete? You complete?
I can complete.
You can complete, or you have more going?
What?
You have more for us?
Well, I think I've said enough.
We can always listen to you, actually. You have so much tricks to say, right?
All right. Well, I will, if you can stand a little bit. If we think about going from head to toe, or I say toe to head, what? If we can do it very quickly.
Okay.
What time is it? Is it 5:30? 4:30. Okay. All right. Well, I think I should just simply think about what we need to do. I think we started with our feet, right? So that was good. What do we do with our legs when we're speaking? What should we do? What are the things that some people do that sort of undermines their professionalism? Well, I see people, women going like this, twisting themselves up. Like we do see that, right? It's good to keep your feet. Do this. What else? You don't want to stand, like John Wayne in Heat. This is the opposite of that kind of stuff. Then there's kind of if you're doing this kind of thing, the lounge lizard look. I don't know, you look gooder on stage when you stand up straight with your weight on both feet. So it's impressive. What about your, let's see, your hands? You can do a lot of weird stuff with your hands. Hands are really important. There's a professor at the University of Chicago who's demonstrated that if you tie somebody's hands up, it takes them much longer to figure out what they want to say or the words. They can't find the right word. And they also, that people can lose up to 75% of your intention or your meaning if you're not using your hands. So that's intense, that using your hands effectively somehow animates and enhances the meaning and the intention in your speech. It's a visual cue. So it's important to use your hands effectively. And so one way of using your hands ineffectively is I had an uncle who used to take me to the Central Park Zoo, and we used to feed peanuts to squirrels when I was a little boy. And I just remember the squirrels sat up on their hind legs and had their paws like this in the front of their chest. You know, in other words, they're sort of limp-wristed. And you know, sometimes you see speakers with you know, squirrel paw hands who just don't seem to have any life in their hands. I think it's very important to use your hands as elements of strength, as if you were, I don't know, picking up bronze pineapples with your hand, you know, or a bowling ball, and you getting energy and life into your hands. I think it's felt by the audience if you can do that. I think I'm going to stop now. We could go on, but we will stop. Thank you very much. And Cheryl, thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, and on behalf on Cheryl and Hacka Media, thank you for being here today, and thank you so much, Sims. It was a pleasure meeting you and for all the great tips and coaching. We've learned so much. That was incredible. So thank you. And everyone, I hope you've learned so much, and I know you did. And after this, you're going to actually receive some tools and tips and tricks from Hacka Media. Actually, I have a training video series for you, little short snippets. I actually address clothing in there. I'm not saying not to dress in tuxedo, but I'm telling you to dress up like you. So I have a little cue for you for that. And thank you so much, and have a great day. Oh, and can we hug Cheryl? Thank you so much, Cheryl, for organizing everything. I want to acknowledge you for all the work that you did and your whole team. Yeah, that was, yes.